All right, and we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames. This is episode number 44. Yes, welcome back to our franchise mode here at the Calgary Flames, and welcome into episode number 44, the free agency episode here in the summer of 2024, as we, the Calgary Flames, are continuing to try and repeat as Stanley Cup champions here in 2024 and obviously into the 2025 season. So yes, welcome back to our quest here to repeat as Cup champions. I say that because this is our final stretch as GM of the Calgary Flames. Again, if you did not watch the last couple episodes, episode number 42 was the big one. That was the Stanley Cup Finals in 2024 against the Florida Panthers. Obviously, we prevailed to be Stanley Cup champions for just the second time in franchise history. It took us 5 long years here in our franchise mode to accomplish our ultimate goal of becoming the champions, which we did. And then in the last episode there, kind of spoke a little bit about the future of this franchise mode. We are going to try and take one more stab at it and try and become Stanley Cup champions again. We are going to retire after this upcoming season, the 2024-25 season, whether we are Cup champions or not. So we're going for one last run here in this franchise mode because NHL 21 will be coming out soon, and we'll be starting up a new Calgary Flames franchise mode in NHL 21. I talked a bit about it in the last episode. How when we take a look at the Calgary Flames in real life, obviously this game, we won the Stanley Cup. We had guys like Alex Ovechkin, Nathan MacKinnon alongside Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan to help us win a Stanley Cup. But in real life, it's a pretty interesting position the Calgary Flames are in. So that's more for later. But yeah, we're gonna try and take a stab at a pretty interesting franchise mode because the catch was that we are going to start up a new franchise mode in NHL 21. But we're going to do it with a major move right off the bat because the fan base is demanding heavily for change to the core of the Calgary Flames. So there's a good chance that you could see a massive trade involving somebody like a Johnny Gaudreau or a Sean Monahan right off the bat. So excited for that. Excited for NHL 21. Also maybe kind of want to start up another franchise mode after that one with a different team. So lots on the agenda for the upcoming future of this channel and going into NHL 21 when it comes out here pretty soon if you're watching these live. All right, back to this game though. Like I said, we've got about 4 or 5 episodes left in this one, as we are going to obviously get through this upcoming regular season and the Stanley Cup playoffs. And again, like I said, the only goal right now for us is to win the Stanley Cup in back-to-back years. So, we have 1 year to do it, our 1-year window. It's kind of like our new objective after winning the Cup this year is to repeat as champions. We're still going to try and keep it realistic, though, is what I'm trying to get to, because there's going to be a new GM that's going to be taken over in the after us, and we want to make sure that they have the ability, the new management staff have the ability to take this team from there. So that's a little bit about what we're getting into. I know it was kind of a bit of a spiel here, but let's get right into it. So as you can see, again, if you did not watch the last episode, we made some pretty big signings. Maybe we'll go into that quickly first, just looking at our contract situation. I'm just thinking here, can we have to probably look at the trade screen first. And then obviously you just saw the free agency list there. Quite a few prominent names there on that list. We'll take a look at that in a second. But yeah, let's take a look quickly at our contract situation. We might just go by highest paid here, starting with our MVP. Or one of our MVPs in Nathan MacKinnon. He still has, I think we said, 6 years left. Yeah, there at 12.3 for 6 years, 5 more years for Sean Monahan, 5 more years for Johnny Gaudreau, both of them matching $10 million contracts. Our core in this game is set for the next, 5-6 years. Yusuf Alimak, he does only have 1 year left. He's going to be a big free agent signing for us. There's Max Domi with 3 years left at $7 million. Matthew Tkachuk's got $6 million, 6.3 at 1 year left as well. So some pretty big names for our new GM next year to take a look at. Dylan Dubé, we just signed. He was one of our signings, our biggest signing probably in the free agency period, or in the re-signing phase, I should say. Dylan Dubé, 85, 25 years of age, young centerman still, just growing. We got him for a pretty good deal when you look at it, considering he could probably be in our top 6, 5.8 for 3 years. Josh Manson still has 2 years left there. Rasmus Anderson has a year left at 4.5. Ovechkin, we re-signed and brought him back for 1 year. Perfect term for Alex Ovechkin, bringing him back for just 1 year and at a $4 million cap. That's not bad for a guy that, yes, he's going to be like 39 next year. and his 84 is probably going to decline, but he still can probably flirt with 30 goals. He's probably going to be north of 20 goals, and somewhere between 40 to 50 points. Wouldn't doubt that out of Alex Ovechkin. And like I said, I mean, he led our team in scoring in the Stanley Cup playoffs, or was one of our co-leaders, so he can get the job done when it comes to the postseason as well. Sam Bennett there, 1 year left. Matthew Phillips, 1 year left. Shillington, and then onward down here. So we re-signed Shillington. We re-signed Scott Wilson on our fourth line as well, and then just some prospects and AHL players down there. Jacob Pelche is still, I think, our top prospect until we sign some of our other guys here. So yeah, you can see there, that is the list. The prominent notable names that are not on this list that we did not get re-signed happen to be Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin. Now, Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin hit the free agent market. We tried to sign both of them. We actually tried heavily to sign Noah Hannafin. Could not get him done. Lindholm was asking for just too much, and we didn't have the money to make it work. But Noah Hannafin, we tried really hard, and here he is, number 3 on the free agency list, the top defenseman in this year's class, Noah Hannafin. Of course, he was one of our best defensemen last year. Him and Yusuf Valimaki, again, if you were not watching this franchise moment, but him and Yusuf Valimaki formed one of the best elite defensive pairings in the game, and obviously they were the key reason why we won a Stanley Cup. On the blue line, that is, they were our top pairing all year long. The last handful of years, they were actually our best defensive pairing. I hated splitting them up. They were so good together. Long story short, we're obviously not bringing back Noah Hannafin. He decided not to come back to our team. He wanted to test the free agent market. We did offer him a $10 million flat for what he wanted. Going up, he wanted 9, I think it was 9.7 or something. We went up to 10 million flat. Or no, 9.3. I can't remember what it was. We did go up to 10 million flat. He didn't want it. Look at what he's asking for here in the free agent market: 10.075. So I mean, that's not much more than what we were offering him. It's clearly not about the money when it comes to Noah Hannafin. He just wanted to try a new market. That sometimes happens. There's players that sometimes, just want to change the scenery. I don't know why. I mean, you literally is just like a month removed from winning a Stanley Cup with us, and being such a key piece for our team. But for some reason, he wanted to test the market. So that's out of our control. We couldn't do anything about that for Noah Hannafin. Just taking a look here, it is Nashville and Columbus that have already made him offers in this year's class. Like I said, he is the best defenseman out there. 89 overall, elite, 27 years of age. He is asking for 3 years. It is at 10, basically 10 million. Like what we were going to offer him. So best defenseman out there is Noah Hannafin. So yeah, when you look at this class, I mean, some obviously big names, Aho, Matthews out there headlining it. I don't know why they're both out there, both of them asking for $11 million for 7 years. Pretty insane. But obviously we're not in the market for a forward. You just saw our screen there. With our players on it, we don't need a forward. So what happened is, so where's Elias Lindholm? We should look at Lindholm there quickly as well. There's Lindholm. He was asking for 8.7, so that's exactly what he was asking us for. It was 8.7 for 5 years. 5 teams interested in the now former Stanley Cup champion Elias Lindholm. So I mean, he's a really good depth player. He's a guy that can play in your top 6. He can play in your top line. He can play in your second line. That's what he did for us in this Stanley Cup run for us. And yeah, he got it done. I mean, by the time the playoffs came, he was more of a second line player. Did get bumped down to the third line occasionally just because we were so deep. But he's still 87 overall. I mean, on any team, this guy's probably on your top right wing or second right wing spot for sure. So no doubt about it, 5 teams interested in him. Let's see who they are: Anaheim, Washington, Vancouver, Arizona, Winnipeg as well. So quite a few, pretty much all Western Conference teams in there except for Washington, and a few Pacific teams in there that definitely got to look at Elias Lindholm over the years in Calgary. So so I just want to quickly show you Elias Lindholm, Noah Hannafin. Obviously, the 2 pieces that decided not to sign with us. So I guess Noah Hannafin did it. Elias Lindholm, it just didn't make sense for us to bring him back. Because again, if you look at the bottom of your screen right there, 6.54 is our cap space. We do not have a lot of cap space to work with here in this episode. This is a big episode because we have quite a bit to get done. We have to find obviously somebody now to replace Noah Hannafin. A top defenseman on our team, so we need a number 1 or number 2 defenseman. We also need to fill out our bottom 6. We have to, I believe we've got 1 forward on our third line and 1 forward right now penciled in on our fourth line. I actually should be writing this down. But when you look at it, we still need to fill those spots. We also need to fill our bottom pairing spots. So, I mean, this is going to be a pretty big episode. So, just one last look here at the free agent class, because I'm going to explain to you what I think we're going to do here in a second. So again, if you look at our free agent defenseman class here, when we're going to try and replace Noah Hannafin, there's Noah Hannafin there. We could easily go and try and offer Noah Hannafin, what he's asking for there, but I don't think he wants to come back to Calgary. And we did try that contract, but I think we can get cheaper than what Noah Hannafin's asking for. Maybe we won't get as good of a defenseman, but we can definitely get cheaper. We have to definitely be aware of our money situation here going into this upcoming year. So there's also this guy here. He's 90 overall. He's actually technically better than Hannafin. He's also really young, but he is an RFA with the Los Angeles Kings. He was drafted, I believe, 3rd overall in 2021. So, I mean, his entry-level deal's up. He's a really good defenseman. But, again, he's under an RFA contract, which means that we would have to match anything, or the Kings would be able to match, and then we would have to give them compensation in terms of draft picks. Definitely not looking to do that with a guy that's that good of a player. You're probably giving up like 3 first overall picks in a row, or first round picks, I should say. So I'm definitely not even going near that. And then when you get below Noah Hannafin and this Clark guy, there's nothing really. I mean, you got an 83 here, an 83, an 82, an 83. So I mean, these guys are good. They're decent top 4 defensemen, but I'm looking for a top 2 defenseman. I'm looking for a guy that can play with Juuso Välimäki. Because like I said, we have Rasmus Andersson, we have Josh Manson, who are pretty much around these caliber players. We don't need guys on our second pairing. We need a guy for our top pairing. So when I'm looking at this free agent class, I'm not too impressed behind Noah Hannafin and this Clark guy. We're not going to go after these two. So yeah, I'm not too impressed with what's down here. I mean, if I wanted eventually we do want top 6 defensemen, we can definitely look here for that. When you go by overall here, if you get down here, you can find guys down here. I don't want to be paying, a bottom 6 guy like $2 million, so we're going to have to wait a little bit, gauge the market, but we can definitely find some depth defensemen down here for us to play on our third pairing. So yeah, that's just a quick look at the free agent class. Like I said, not super impressed with it this year for the defensemen, that is. But yeah, I mean, obviously we have to address our situation. So what I think we're going to do here is, give me a second here. I'm going to go and quickly pull up our lines here on my laptop, because again, with the way this game is set up, you can't view your lines right now. So I just want to make sure we have our lines figured out, our projected lines for next year, to make sure we know exactly what spots we need to fill. So give me a second here. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back here. So I just went through and kind of put together some projected lines for next year with what we've got here so far in this roster, just so we can see what we're working with a little bit here, and know where our holes are. Like I said, they're pretty much where we expected, but I just kind of look where, just kind of to see where they are, excuse me. So I've got them in front of me. Again, you can't see them on your screen. I'm just showing you right now our roster as is. I really do wish EA Sports would allow us to show our edit lines, projected lines, whatever you want to call it, in the off season, so we could do this a little bit easier. But obviously they don't. So this is just a really quick, again, not set in stone yet, but just a quick look at our projected lineup so far for next year. So we start with the top line, left wing spot number at 91, is Johnny Gaudreau. Center spot goes to 94 overall, Nathan McKinnon. And right wing spot right now is going to be 84 overall, Alex Ovechkin. So that Gaudreau, McKinnon, Ovechkin line is what we ran with in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's what we won the Stanley Cup with. So we'll continue that as our top line. Second line looks like this. At center is number 91, Sean Monahan. Not number 91, I mean 91 overall. Left wing on that line, 86 overall, is Matthew Tkachuk. And then right wing on that line right now would be 86 overall, Max Domi. So that's how the way our top 6 looks again. Again, Gaudreau, McKinnon, Ovechkin, your top line. Tkachuk, Monahan, Domi, your second line. Not a bad top 6 right there, again, considering we did lose Elias Lindholm, who was a pretty consistent member of that top 6. Third line looks like this right now. On left wing would be Sam Bennett, 81 overall. On center would be Dylan Dubé, 85 overall. And right now we are missing a right winger on that top, or in that third line. Again, with the subtraction of Elias Lindholm. So again, down the middle, not bad. McKinnon, 94. Monahan, 91. And then Dubé on the third line at 85. That'd be really, really deep down the middle if we decide to go that route. And I'll just explain that in a second here. Now, fourth line so far looks like this. We have Scott Wilson on the left side, 79. Matthew Phillips in the middle, 81. Continuing us to have a nice, strong center core. And then Austin Czarnik can come in as our right winger at 77. I'd prefer not to have Austin Czarnik as our right winger on that line. I prefer to keep him as a 13th forward, but you know what? He is there right now. That's all we've got. So as you can see, we have 11 players in our top 12. So we're missing one. Technically, we're missing a right winger on the third line. Again, if we decide to go that route, I'll explain that in a second. And now when we look at our defense projecting for next year, right now we are missing we got Juuso Välimäki 89 overall left spot, and we are missing a top right defenseman. Top right shot defenseman. So we have our top left defenseman in Juuso Välimäki, 89, but we are missing our top right defenseman with the subtraction of Noah Hannafin. Second pairing looks like this. We've got on the left side there Josh Manson at 84 overall and Rasmus Andersson 85 overall. Not a bad second pairing there. And then third pairing looks like this. Oliver Kylington 79, and that's it. So we are missing 2 defensemen in our top 6. You can see that we got Nelson and Valiev down here, but these guys are more AHL defensemen. Worst comes to the worst, we could have Nielsen as our 7th defenseman. But I prefer, again, to maybe look in free agency. But right now, we got to worry about filling out our top 6 with 2 more defensemen. We need a third pairing guy to play with Oliver Kylington. But most importantly, we need a top pairing defenseman on the right side to play with Juuso Välimäki. So that's what our defense looks like. As you can see, there's a little bit more holes on that. And then goaltending looks like this. We have Jordan Binnington, 85 overall. Did win us a Stanley Cup. He was really good for us. Probably could have won the Conn Smythe as well. He had that good of a Stanley Cup playoff run for us. We did lose our backup, Jake Allen, who did come in for us during the regular season and was so good for us, but he was just a generic backup. So we do need a backup goalie. Worst comes to worst, we could go in with Zagadula in here, 77. Wolf's also 77, but I'd like to continue to grow him at 23 years of age. Zagadula at 28. But again, that's not a good backup at all. I definitely want more support. Binnington was an 86 all of last year. He's come down to an 85 now at 30 years of age. Take that for what you will. And I think his contract's up after this year as well. Yeah, he's only got 1 year left. So again, our next GM is going to have a lot of decisions to make after this season. So that's just a quick look at everything there. So again, backup goalie probably wouldn't be the worst case scenario if we can find one. But when you look at it, obviously the biggest hole is, again, when we look at to fill these spots, we've got to fill our top defenseman. We've got to fill our third pairing defenseman, so like our 5th or 6th defenseman, and we got to fill our third line right wing. And then we got to add some depth, like a 13th forward if we can, and a backup goalie if we can. So obviously, number one thing is to go after a number 1 defenseman to play with Juuso Välimäki. This is where it gets interesting. We only have $6 million to work with. You can see right down there in the bottom, $6.5 million to work with. We just took a look at the free agent class. There was really nothing out there in the free agent class other than McKinnon and that Clark guy down there. Those were guys that are probably more in your second pairing. So right now, pretty much the only way we're going to get a number 1 defenseman to play with Välimäki is to go the trade route. So what I did is I went and I looked at every team and I looked at the trade route. But here's the thing, is we're not going to be able to get a number 1 defenseman, without clearing up a little bit of salary cap space first. Plus, we're going to need a piece to trade. Now, we do have, I think we have when we look at our draft picks here, we do have our draft pick for next year. We have our first and our second draft pick, as well as we should have some prospects in the system that, we really should sign some of those prospects in the system as well. When we go down to, I guess we can go all skaters. Just looking at trade chips. So we do have all of our draft picks from this year. When you go to, trade value wise here, we should have some prospects in the system. I guess we don't really have them signed. We got this guy right here, who we just drafted, I believe. This Pauly guy. No, we drafted him last year in the first round, so he's there. He's not signed, though. We'd have to get him signed. We got this guy as well. But you can see that these are okay prospects. These are like B, C level prospects down here. All these guys down here. So they're not going to get you a big return, but we do have prospects down there. We don't have any top end high caliber prospects. Obviously, we've been trading some of our draft picks the last how many years, but we do have our draft pick to work with this upcoming draft, our first overall here as a trade chip. But what I found more interesting is and I talked about it at the end of the last video. That's pretty much the way we're going to do it. When you look at our salary cap space, we need to free up cap space at the same time as, find somebody with value. And the name that makes the most sense to us, even though despite the fact that we did lose Elias Lindholm already, the name that makes the most sense to us is definitely Max Domi. All right, so you look at Max Domi here, 86 overall. He is a second line forward-ish. Can play center, can play wing. He's very versatile. Good playmaker in as well. But he's got 3 years left at $7 million. That's a lot of money for 3 more years. He is now 29 years of age. And the thing about Max Domi is right now he's projected as our second line right winger. Well, we've got a guy named Dylan Dubé who is, begging to be in the top 6. We just re-signed this guy to a 3-year, $5.8 million contract. He can easily slide into our top 6, but I do like Dubé, as a centerman down the middle. That gives us a lot of depth. If we take Dylan Dubé off of that third line center spot and move him to the right wing spot on the top line, then we would have a hole on our third line center. Yes, Sam Bennett could slide over there, but I would prefer to keep Dubé there. But at the same time, we'd need to fill our right wing second line if we trade Max Domi, which I think we're going to do. Because right now, either way we do this, if we get rid of Max Domi, either way it's going to take a hit to our offensive core. We're going to lose arguably a good top 6 forward. Again, when you go by forwards here, we're going to lose a good top 6 forward for sure if we lose Domi. So, it's going to suck. But at the end of the day, it's the only way we're going to get a top defenseman, because where else are you going to get the trade value? Even our first round pick this year is not going to get us a top defenseman. Look at the trade value on that. They're projecting us to probably be, cup contenders again. So the most trade value that will come off of Domi. Look at Domi's trade value too. It's higher than Kachuk's. It's higher than Dubé's. It's higher than Rasmus Andersson's. He's got decent trade value. He's a good player. But for us, the last few years, we had a lot of these players, the guys that can hit. He hit 20 goals. He hit 50 points a season. But we got a lot of those guys. Dylan Dubé can probably do that for us as well. If we put him up there. Tkachuk does that as well. We got such a good, top line, Gaudreau, McKinnon, and Ovechkin, and then you got Monahan on our second line. So we got enough pieces up there that we could get rid of Domi. We got enough firepower up front, I should say. So it wouldn't hurt us to get rid of Domi. It would hurt our depth overall, but at the end of the day, it's that or a top defenseman. So it makes the most sense to get rid of Max Domi. Again, it sucks, having to trade such a good piece on your team, but at the end of the day, it's what makes the most sense. It's the only way we're going to get a defenseman. Again, you looked at the free agent class. There wasn't much out there, plus the fact that we only have $6.5 million to work with, and we still need to go out after we get a defenseman. We still need to go out and a top defenseman will probably eat up about $6.5 million. I don't know who we're going to get. Well, I kind of have an idea, but it's probably going to cost around $6.5 million. So then we'll still need money to go out and get all the rest of the pieces that we need. Clearly, we'll have to, if we do trade Domi, we'll have to address another forward in our top 9, as well as we'll have to still get our 6 defensemen and then fill those depth pieces in as well. So this is the intriguing thing. What I did here is I took Max Domi and I put him on the trade block. And I went through every single team here, and I went and I looked at all the defensemen on all these teams. And there's some options. There's a lot of teams that like St. Louis that can't afford Domi. Plus, they don't have anything to give up. Again, when you go by defense, I'm just going here quickly. When you go by defense, they just don't have any, and they're not wanting to get rid of any of these guys as well. As well as the fact that it's gonna cost a lot to get these guys. So yeah, I just. Trade value wise, it just didn't make sense. There's a lot of teams. There's only one that I found really made sense, and it's going to be quite the I don't even know what to say. It's going to be quite the storyline, you could say, if it happens. Especially considering what just happened for our team, and I guess I might just get right into it instead of continuing to babble on about it. But I did find a potential trade with the Carolina Hurricanes. You can probably see it right there on the right side. When you go by defenseman, look who just happens to be on the trading block. It is a former Calgary Flame himself, not the former Calgary Hitman in Jake Bean, but the former Calgary Flame himself in Dougie Hamilton. And what do you know, but Dougie Hamilton just happens to be a right shot defenseman as well. Just happens to be a top 4 defenseman. 85 overalls, not bad at all. He's not the 89 or 90 that Noah Hannafin was. Like I said, we're definitely taking a hit to our defense with the loss of Noah Hannafin, but there's nothing we can do. When you look at his contract, that's probably the most prominent thing to look at. 2 years left at 5.7. That's reasonable. That's less than what Domi's making. If we make this trade, we'll actually save money. So yeah, This one makes the most sense for me. Again, I went through every team. Carolina wants Max Domi. They're looking for Domi, and we're looking to obviously get a right shot top defenseman. Dougie Hamilton is that. They also have Jakob Slavin on the board as well, also 85 overall, but he is a left shot. And Slavin is more of a two-way defender, more of a defensive defenseman. Look at his defensive stats there, 89, 88, 89. Dougie Hamilton is more of an offensive defenseman, as we know in Calgary. He played how many seasons with us. We know how good of an offensive defenseman he can be. And that's kind of what we're looking with, because if you look at Josh Manson, on our team, he's kind of our shutdown defenseman, paired right now with Rasmus Andersson, and Noah Hannafin and Yusuf Valimaki were more of our offensive pairing, although they were both two-way defensemen. We haven't had a really good offensive defenseman in a long time, so it would kind of be like Dougie Hamilton checks a lot of boxes for us. When you look at some of the other teams, like I said, there was other options out there. Nothing that's really too serious. Again, you look at, not Arizona, they don't really have anything. Boston had Torrey Krug on the block here, but look at his contract situation. First of all, look at his trade value. That's insane. He is 88. He's a good defenseman. $8 million, though, for another, I think it was, 3 years. That's a lot. I could have did that. Like, I could have made it work by maybe getting Boston to retain salary, plus we're trading Max Domi $7 million in. It'd almost just be, like, we could get them to easily eat $1 million, and then it would be like a trade for trade with Domi $7 million and Krug's then $7 million. It would just be pretty much a switch there. But look at his trade value. I mean, you're not going to make that work for Domi. His trade value is way too high, and I don't want to start pairing in like a first overall pick with Max Domi for Torrey Krug. When you can get other guys, that are just a little bit less than what Torrey Krug is. I went through all the teams. There wasn't really anything else that made as much sense as the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the only other team that made a little bit of sense it wasn't Columbus, it wasn't Colorado. I'm just trying to find them here. Was it LA? LA's stacked on D. Maybe it was up here, maybe it was Colorado. I can't remember. There was another team that had some okay options. If we didn't get, Dougie Hamilton or Jakob Slavin. I'm sorry here. I can't remember which team it was. So I don't know. There was another team here. We can look at that if it doesn't work. Was it Buffalo? No, I can't remember. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and get this deal done with the Carolina Hurricanes. I think that one makes the most sense for us. It's just really pissing me off. There's another team here that had some pieces that we could work with, but like I said, I want to focus on this one with Carolina. So, like I said, it makes the most sense for us. And the fitting storyline, coming back to it all, the fitting storyline in this one, of course, would be, who did we just lose to free agency? Oh, yeah, that's right. We just lost Noah Hannafin and Elias Lindholm. Well, where do they have a connection? Of course, those are the two players that we got in the trade for Dougie Hamilton. When we traded away Dougie Hamilton and Michael Furlan and Adam Fox for Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin. That was the trade back in, 2017, 2018, like that. We talked about it just in the last episode, actually, that trade, when we knew we were going to lose both Hannafin and Lindholm, and we said that we definitely won that trade because we won a Stanley Cup out of it. Well, could you imagine if we win a Stanley Cup with Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin, and then we lose both of them, but then we go in free agency and get Dougie Hamilton back? Like, could you imagine, trade for Hamilton back? Like, could you imagine the storylines? I mean, that'd be just too rich, if this trade goes through. The fact that we traded away Hamilton, who was arguably the best piece of that trade, and then we, end up winning a Stanley Cup with the two pieces that we got out of that trade, and then we go back and get that big piece that we had to trade away in Dougie Hamilton. Like, it would be so cool. I'm not going to lie. You wouldn't be able to make that stuff up. So, again, looking at Dougie Hamilton, we know what he is. We don't really have to dissect him too much. 6'6", right shot defenseman, offensive defenseman. Again, look at his offensive stats. Look at his, he's still decently defensive, got defensive stats as well. He's definitely a guy that can play in your top pairing. Him and Yusuf Valimaki would form a pretty good top pairing. Yes, he's 31 years of age right now. His 85 might go down in the next couple of years. But again, we're just trying to win a Stanley Cup this year with him. He's only got 2 years left, so that would only give our next GM 1 year on the hook with him if his 85 does go down. But he'll still be a good, top four defenseman. Like, you could move Rasmus Andersson up with Yusuf Alamaki if you really wanted, and then play Hamilton on a pairing with Manson. I mean, you really can play around with it here. But yeah, this makes the most sense for us. We don't need to go into it too much. We know what Hamilton can be for us. We know what he is. And at 31 years of age, he's a little bit older, but I still think he's exactly what we need here on this team. He's no Noah Hannafin, but he's the next closest thing right now in this game that we can get. And again, he's cheap, and the trade value might go through. When we put him on the screen here with Max Domi, they want Domi. They want to get rid of Dougie Hamilton. They're shopping Dougie Hamilton. Like, this makes the most sense of any trade. And she's got too rich of a storyline to pass up. So, yeah, when you look at the trade value, I think 1-for-1, this would actually work. I think this would actually go through. I'm even wondering if we could get another piece out of this, like a small piece. So we put Dougie Hamilton on there. When we go by skaters match and block here, so we only got Hamilton and Slavin on there. We could look at draft picks, but I don't think it's going to matter. We can maybe squeeze a 4th round pick out of them here, a 4th and Hamilton for Domi. We can try that. I don't think it's going to go through. I think it's going to have to be a 1-for-1, but let's try the 4th and Dougie Hamilton straight up for Max Domi. We'd be saving money on this too. This would be insane. Let's try this. Here we go. And it's accepted. Wow. All right. This seems like a proposal. This seems like a sweet proposal, on our end on behalf of the Carolina Hurricanes. I accept. All right. Thank you, Carolina, for trading us back Dougie Hamilton. Guess who's back in a Flames jersey? It was a long wait, but Dougie Hamilton is coming back to Calgary. I'm so happy. He's one of my favorite players. Definitely, it definitely sucked losing Hamilton when we did, but it's good to get him back now in a Calgary uniform. Too bad he didn't win a cup with us, but we're going to try and change that. We're going to try and win a cup with him right now in this upcoming season. All right, that's a huge trade for us. That also gives us 7.7 now to work with in salary cap space. So again, the official trade is Max Domi for Dougie Hamilton and a 4th round pick. That's not bad at all. So just quickly look at our draft picks now. We have all of our picks plus Carolina's 4th. Yeah, I'm surprised that we actually got more out of that. I thought it would be 1-for-1. And we get Dougie Hamilton in the fold. So our top defenseman is now set. It is going to be Dougie Hamilton and Yusuf Alamaki roughly. And then Rasmus Andersson, Josh Manson. So that's a huge fill for us. I'm glad that got done. So now we can start going in and filling those other pieces. So now we can jump into free agency, with the money we have and make some offers to some other defensemen. So let's do that quickly, and then we will get through the bulk of free agency and end this episode here. So let's go into let's go into all here. Let's go into defensemen, and I think what we'll do now is, here's what we got to do. So now what happens with the loss of Domi, I really should be doing this on my in front of me at the same time. With the loss of Domi, we now have to fill our right wing spot on both our 2nd and 3rd line, unless we want to move Dubé into our top 6. But then we'll have to fill our 2nd line, our 3rd line, center, and right wing. So we actually have a few more holes we got to do here. So let me just put this in. Hamilton, 85. All right, just penciling that in right there. So yeah, we got a couple holes now. So let's actually go forwards here. So we have, like I said, 7.7 to work with. We need to find somebody that, cheap wingers that can play for us. Let's go by overalls here. Give me a second here. So we're looking down here at right wingers again. We gotta look at guys that aren't gonna be getting paid as much. There's Verana, there's Kapanen, but they're asking for $5-6 million. So that's a lot. Let's keep going down here. Let's keep going down. There's Victor Arvidsson. He's asking for 4.5. It's not too bad. There's this Holtz guy, 83. He's asking for 2.5. That's not bad. Alexander Holtz. Where did he come from? He was drafted 5th overall, by the Montreal Canadiens, and he's up in free agency. He's got elite medium potential as well, and he's only 22 years of age. That's not bad. There's 2 teams interested in him, and he's also only asking for 2.5. This would be a really good steal if we can get this Alexander Holtz guy. He's 22 years. Oh, he's on an RFA contract. I see. I got you. Still, you know what? I almost kind of want to put in an offer for him. Yeah, I mean, well, obviously Montreal will get the opportunity to match what we offer him. But we'll probably have to give up a pick. But you know what? That's not bad. Again, 22 years of age, elite medium potential, already 83. I mean, this could be a future guy for our right wing for years to come. You're going to be a future top right winger. I'm going to make this offer. This is too good of a deal to pass up. Pittsburgh also is offering him a contract, again, RFA, but we can try and make this work. So let's go to, again, I don't know. He's asking for 2 years. That's not bad. He's asking for a bridge. 7.7 7.7. I want to get this guy, so I'm going to offer him. Again, if he's growing, he's 83 in the next 2 years. He can probably be like 85, 86. Again, we're not going to be here 2 years from now, but it'll be interesting to see. I kind of want to up this, and, you know, I want to offer him, you know what I'm going to offer him is 4.5. Really want to try and get this guy. I don't want to go over 4.5. I think 5 million would be a stretch this early in his career, but 4.5 is not bad. Again, this guy could be our second line right winger if we get him. I know he's only 83, but that could grow quite a bit, especially if he's playing on a line with Monahan and Tkachuk. And then Montreal will have to. You know what? Let's just go up to 5 million flat. Montreal's gonna have to match this. And we'll probably have to give away I'm guessing a second round pick. I don't know the exact terms on it in terms of the compensation, but I think it's worth it. This guy's a future piece. So let's go 5 million for 2 years here. Offer the contract. So here's the offer sheet, actually. In order to proceed with signing Alexander Holtz, you must provide the Montreal Canadiens with the following draft picks: this year's first and third round pick. Fuck. All right. A first and a third for Alexander Holtz. Oh, that's gonna be tough. So this is pretty much like a trade. Think of it more as a trade instead of a signing. We have to trade a first and a third for Alexander Holtz. Oh, that's tough. Like I said, we're not going to be here after this year, but I'm trying to keep it realistic. We don't, and you know what? If we're going to be a cup contender again this year, do we need our first round pick? Probably not. And we just did acquire a fourth round pick from the Carolina Hurricanes that can technically kind of replace our third. So yeah, let's do it. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. Alexander Holtz, he's going to consider his options, get back to us later. Again, elite medium potential. I really think this guy has the potential to grow, for years to come, and could be a huge piece for us. All right, let's get back to the swing of things here. There's Blake Wheeler asking for too much. So we need to still find if he's in, he's either our second or third line right winger. So we still need to find a depth right winger, though, to play on the other line. So I wouldn't mind making a few offers here. There's Denis Goryanov. He's 83. 3 teams. Oh no, years wanted is 3. How many teams interested? Nobody interested. All right. So you know what? Let's see what Alexander Holtz says, and then we'll make some contract offers to some of these other guys. I don't want to be paying $3 million. Is there guys down here cheaper? Jordan Eberle's only asking for 1.7. That's cheaper. I can make that 82. That would be a decent third line right winger. What's he want? Just 1 year. That's not bad. I can offer him exactly that. Ebbs is 34 years of age. So yeah, there's a few pieces down here. Burakovsky's down there, but I want to see if we can get Holtz then. There's some good depth options down here though if we don't get him. All right, so that's that. Let's quickly go into defense here and let's see if we can get ourselves a 5th, 6th defenseman to play with Shillington. All right, looking down here. Just looking. I want some cheaper guys here. I don't want to be paying my 6th defenseman much. There's Olofsson, 80 overall. He wants 3 years for 1.9. That's still a lot. 1.3 here for Slater Cuckoo, 79. Depth defenseman. We're getting out of the top 6 now, which is tough. There's not a lot on the defensive market this year. But I guess really right now anything would be better than Taves. Shillington is a left shot defenseman, so I guess maybe look for a right shot defenseman. So Cuckoo's left shot, Taves is right shot. Left shot. Donchin is a right shot. So we could go after this guy, Jake Donchin. What is he? He's a defensive defenseman. He's got all right defensive stats. What he's asking for 1.3. It's still a lot though to pay. Mayfield. This will come down too. So you know what? Let's wait on this because these guys will come down in what they're asking for. And then I guess last thing we didn't look at was a backup goalie really quickly. And then we'll kind of just gauge it from here. So, goaltending. All right. So there's Jake Allen, who we let walk to free agency. Could not re-sign him. Let's just go by best goalies. Best goalie in the market is Martin Jones right now. Not a good goalie market either this year. So we're just looking for a decent backup. Decent backup. These guys are listed as starters, but they're pretty much like 82 as a backup. In my mind, I'm just looking for the cheapest. There's this guy here. He's listed at 81. He's also asking for 1.5. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Alex Nedeljkovic. Where did he come from? Oh yeah, he was a former Hurricane. We could try this guy here. 81 overall. And he's only asking for 1.5. That's not too bad. 2 years. I like that term. Corpusalo's down there. Asking for 1.6. Dell was asking for 1.1. He's an Airdrie native. Could bring him in as well. How old is he? He's 35 though. How many years is he asking for? Just 2 years. That's still a lot though for at 35. We'll see. We'll see this Nektovic guy, and then we'll go from there. But there is also options in the goaltending market as well. So let's advance the day. Really see if we get Alexander Holtz, and then we'll go from there. So let's go day here. Nothing. Let's go second day in. Proposed trade here. They want to give us back TJ Brody for our first, and that prospect. No, thank you. We'll decline the trade. All right, let's go one more day into free agency here. All right, still nothing on the Alexander Holtz front. This is tough now because you don't know if you're going to get the guy. Where did Holtz go? Not even on the screen here. It didn't inform us that anybody else got him. Where did he go? How the hell is he not here? Oh no, there he is. He's way down there. All right. I wasn't going by overall, excuse me. So he's still there. There's 3 teams interested, so us and the other 2, Montreal, Montreal and the other team that was interested in him. Still lots out there, I think, roughly. So let's just keep going a few more days in, and then go from there. All right, 4th day in. So Jordan Eberle is extremely happy to accept the offer. And the cash generator, yeah, we just gave him exactly what he was offering or asking for, like 1 point something. For what was it, a year or 2? Not bad. He's a good piece to come in, veteran piece to come in on our third line. If he plays with Dylan Dubé and Sam Bennett on the third line, that wouldn't be bad. This Alex Nektovic guy, he's extremely happy to accept the offer. So we've got our backup goalie now behind Jordan Binghamton, also just making 1 point some. So that's not too bad. And then Alexander Holtz has decided to accept your offer as presented, but it's not a done deal just yet. I won't be able to join your organization right away as my previous team has the chance to match your offer. All right, so Alexander Holtz has decided that it is a good idea to come to the Calgary Flames, the defending Stanley Cup champions. We did offer him $5 million for 3 years, I believe, 2-3 years. So definitely giving him a lot more than he was asking for. But the Montreal Canadiens can still match that $5 million for him. If they do match it, then we don't get Holtz. But if they don't, then we have to give up a first and a third. So this will be interesting to see how this one plays off. All right, so we've got our third line right winger. We've got our backup goalie. We just need to look now at getting a 6th defenseman, and then obviously if we're going to get Alexander Holtz or not. That's kind of what we're waiting on right now. Is a second line right winger in Holtz. Let's go defenseman here. All right, so Noah Hanifin's still out there. 4 teams interested in Noah Hanifin. I just want to see who they are. Islanders, Winnipeg, Nashville, and Columbus. All right, still nobody going after this RFA defenseman from. Can you imagine what you have to match for that? Jesus Christ. This Clark guy from LA. All right, let's go down here to depth defenseman. I want to actually go by pay as well because I want to find somebody cheap. All right, let's get down. I'm looking to pay around here. For a 6th defenseman. Again, a right shot defenseman. Kind of want to go cheaper than that right now. What do we have to work with? Salary cap. 985. So we actually don't even have a lot of cap space to work with right now. 985. That's considering, I'm guessing we're giving $5 million of that to Alexander Holtz. Yeah, I would assume that's because he's already accepted that. So, 985. So it'd have to be one of these guys down here, which is obviously not NHL caliber. All right, so we'll have to do a little bit more wheeling and dealing. So first of all, I guess we can't do anything until we find out if we get Holtz. And then if we do, then we might have to make some more trades to free up some cap space. So let's just keep simming here. There's still lots of guys in free agency. So let's keep going here. See if Montreal decides to match this offer. Come on, Montreal. All right, trade alert. The Rangers have acquired Andre Johnson for Drysdale. Ooh, Drysdale's going to Pittsburgh. Nathan Beaulieu in a 6th. All right. Okay. Keep going here. Nothing 7 days into free agency. We're still waiting to hear back from the Montreal Canadiens if they're going to match this offer. How long do they have to match this offer? This is going to be annoying. Let's go a couple more days in here. All right, here it is. Trailer Petrie. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right, the Montreal Canadiens have chosen to match your $5 million. No! So you're no longer required to transfer your draft picks in this competition. Fuck's sakes. All right, I wanted Alexander Holtz. This sucks. All right, let's stop the simming now. So we get our $5 million back, right? I hope that's the case. All right. All right, Aho's still up there. So we do get our $5 million back. So we now go back up to $5.9 million. So almost $6 million to work with. Does suck though because we did lose out on a potential good future piece there. But hey, I mean we took a shot. Montreal matched it. What can you do? All right, so we gotta go here and find ourselves a right winger to play on the second line. So there's Tom Wilson, 85. He is listed as a second line right winger. He's the best right winger left on the market. There's Victor Arvidsson as well. Two teams in on Wilson. No teams in on Victor Arvidsson. Again, just getting some right wing pieces to fill there. Who else is on the right wing market? Dennis Gordionov, but that's getting down to an 83. We've already got Jordan Eberle, remember? So we're looking for more of a second line right winger. This will allow us to keep Dylan Dubé at center. So let's go after, let's try Tom Wilson. Let's see what he's asking for here. First of all, I guess we should look at his stats and everything. So still second line right winger. Looks like he can probably still put up, he's listed as a grinder, but it looks like he can still put up, 20 goals, maybe 40 points would be my guess. Yeah, I mean, decent stats all around. He's obviously a physical forward. He can still score, like I said. Maybe look at his career stats here. So yeah, I mean, 43 points last year, 17 goals, 16 the year before, 36. So I mean, playing with Washington, did win a cup with Washington back in 2018. I think he'd be a good guy to go after. Victor Arvidsson, he put up 10 goals last year, 30 assists. He's more of a sniper, does pose a bit more of a better shot, but that's pretty much what he is. Not Claude Giroux. Giroux actually can play center, but I think he can also play right wing, can he? He shoots right. So what is Claude Giroux asking for, actually? 85. No team's interested in him, and he's asking for 5.2. That's not bad. How many years? 2 years? I guess that's what we forgot to look at is the term. Tom Wilson's asking for 5 years at 30 years of age. So actually, I don't think I want to do that for Tom Wilson. Victor Arvidsson's asking for 4 years. Claude Giroux's only asking for 2 years. You also have Jonathan Toews. I don't know about Jonathan Toews. He is a centerman. So I mean, it wouldn't make much sense to bring in Toews at all. Yeah, actually looking at this, I actually like Claude Giroux better. He is a right shot. He can play center, but he can also move to the right wing if needed. And again, I wasn't looking at the term. I apologize. The term makes more sense for Claude Giroux, who's 36 years of age. That 85 will go down, but again, Burns one of those years this year. I like that a little bit better actually than both Wilson and Arvidsson, who's asking for more term. Let's try Claude Giroux. There's nobody interested in him. Nobody's made a contract pitch to him. We have 5.9 to work with. He's only asking for 5.2. We can even, again, I don't know if there's going to be other teams in him, but we can even say, hey, we'll give you like 5.3. Exactly what you're asking for. I don't know if there's going to be other teams interested in him. That's the thing. I want to make us a good contender, though, for next year. So you know what? I'm going to up that. Shit, I don't know. We still need money for a defenseman, for a sixth defenseman, but let's go 5.4. I'll give you 5.4 for 2 years that you're asking for. Yes, you're 36 years of age, but 85 overall. I think you could still help us win a Stanley Cup this year. And again, a former, captain for the Philadelphia Flyers. This guy knows how to win. Just hasn't won a cup yet, but he can help us do that. Imagine we have him and Ovechkin now on our right side. That'd be really good. All right. Let's offer Claude Giroux that contract. Let's really, really hope that no other team offers him a contract and we get him. Because at this point, we need him. And hey, he happens to be a playmaker. That's exactly what Max Domi was. So if we don't get Giroux, I don't know what else is out there. Gurianov is kind of more of a third liner. I guess you would have to go after like a Victor Arvidsson, but he wants 4 years, 31 years of age. Again, Tom Wilson wants 5 years at 30 years of age. I'll take him to these. That's not a good contract long term. Again, we're not going to be here long term, but I want to keep it realistic. So let's try Claude Giroux. Let's hope we get Giroux. A much older Claude Giroux than we're used to, but it'd be really cool if we get him in a Calgary uniform. Play with our Stanley Cup caliber team. All right, more trades going on here in the free agent period. Dickinson, a 6th and 7th for a couple of firsts. Holy crap. Dickinson must be a good defenseman. Vancouver's loading up, so they're looking good as well. All right, let's go a few days here and see if we get a bite on Claude Giroux. All right, still nothing. Let's go another day in. Another incoming trade. They really want to give us Brody back. I don't want to give up a first or Pelletier. Let's decline that trade. All right, come on, Calgary, or Giroux. Come on, Giroux. Come on, come to Calgary. All right, still nothing. Let's go one more day and we'll see what's out there. Come on, Giroux. Come on. There it is. Yes, Claude Giroux's a Flame. All right, he's extremely happy to accept the offer. Cash offer is most generous. We did go up from 5.2 something to 5.4. All right, so we've got our second line right winger. This guy's still 85 overall. He could help us win a cup this year. I'm excited. That is a huge ad for our team. All right, so that's massive for our team. So this is what I'm going to do. We now have our team pretty much filled out. All of our lines have filled out now. Up front, we are just missing a 6th defenseman. We have a backup goalie. I just need about a 6th defenseman, maybe a 7th defenseman, and maybe a 13th forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sim the rest of the free agent period. There's no sense putting you through this, and then we'll get right up to the start of the next season, and I'll just update you with what our roster is. So give me a second here. All right, so we're back here. So I just simmed the rest of the summer away there, and just made a couple signings, and then jumped right into the month of September. Excuse me. So let's take a look at our official lineup now for the 2024-25 season. The defending Stanley Cup champion Calgary Flames looking to repeat, and this is what it looks like. So there it is, your top line: Johnny Gaudreau, Nathan MacKinnon, Alex Ovechkin, 91, 94, 84 across the board. That is a really good top line. Obviously, a Stanley Cup championship winning top line. Tkachuk on your second line, 86. Monahan, 91. And I put Dylan Dubé up here on our second line at 86 over our right wing, because look at Claude Giroux. He did jump down to an 83. He was an 85 when we signed him. He's gone down to an 83. Also notably is Jordan Eberle has gone down to an 80 from, what was he, an 82, 83. He's jumped down. So unfortunately, both these guys who we just signed on big contracts, technically, do both go down. So we just signed Giroux for 2 years at 5.4, hoping he was an 85. I knew that would go down. I just didn't think it would go down to start this year. I thought it would maybe go down at the end of this year. So that sucks. That sucks he's gone down to an 83. But that's a good thing that he's a centerman. We signed him to play as our right winger, but he's actually a natural centerman. So it actually works out perfectly. He can slide to that third line center spot and allow Dylan Dubé, who's now clearly way better than him at 86 overall. He'll come up to our third line. Even though Dubé is left shot and a centerman, like I said, he makes the most sense to play with Monahan and Tkachuk. But again, if it doesn't work out, we can switch Giroux there as well. Jordan Eberle, I'm really disappointed. He dropped to an 80. We just signed him to, which is, I guess, 1 year at 1.7. It's not a gamble, but it does suck that he dropped down to that. So him, Sam Bennett, and Claude Giroux will form that third line. This is more of a new look third line. All of these players, actually Bennett was there last year, but both Giroux and Eberle are the two newcomers when you look at our offense. Everybody else here on our entire offense is from our Stanley Cup championship team. Fourth line looks like this: Scott Wilson, Matthew Phillips, Austin Czarnik. That's exactly what our fourth line was last year, with the exception of Czarnik, who was our 13th forward. He comes in and fills that final spot at 77. Not the best fourth line, but what can you do? Matthew Phillips is still pretty good there. Looking at the defense, now looks like this: Yusuf Valimaki, 89. There's Dougie Hamilton back in the Calgary jersey, 85 there as well. So it looks good to have Hamilton back. Not as good as Noah Hannafin, but again, what can you do? Manson, Anderson, they stayed 84, 85. That's nice to see. Oliver Shillington stays at 79, and I got Neil Pionk for 79 overall. I signed him and Rakto Gudis at a 78. So we've got 7 defensemen, I should say. So a little bit of depth down there. Got them for both under $1 million, I believe. And then, and that's what it looks like. And goaltending looks like this: Binghamton stays at 85, and this Alex Netrovic, he stays at an 81 as our new backup, as he obviously replaces Jake Allen. So that's just a quick look at your lineups. I'm going to end this episode here because it's been obviously going pretty long. But not a bad off season. Again, we're trying to construct our team to repeat again next year as Stanley Cup champions. This will be our final season here in this franchise mode in NHL 20 with the Calgary Flames. So let's take one last run at the Stanley Cup, and it begins in our season opener, where we raise the Stanley Cup banner in the next episode number 45.